The Joker is arguably one of pop culture's greatest villains, both in movies, television, and comic books, with a legacy that spans more than 80 years. Let me ask you, when you think of your favorite Joker line from any medium, what comes to mind? You may think of,
Why so serious?
maybe,
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What?
or how about?
Police, get what you deserve!
But for me, the line that stays in my mind comes from what many fans consider the quintessential Joker story, The Killing Joke.
All it takes is one bad day. That's how far the world is from where I am. Just one bad day.
And that made me think, do you remember that one scene from The Incredibles where Mr. Incredible almost became the Joker? Let me explain. In The Killing Joke, the Joker explains to Batman how it takes just one bad day to turn a completely sane person mad. And I believe that this shines through in this one particular scene in Pixar's The Incredibles. But how did it come to this? Well, I'm going to show you the parallels one by one. Through flashbacks, we find the origins of the Joker, showing his life before and how he became the deranged clown prince of crime we all know. Him starting out as a struggling stand-up comic with a wife and baby on the way. The Joker's initial unhappiness with his own life while struggling to support his own family bears a similarity to how Mr. Incredible, civilian named Bob, feels after superheroes have been outlawed in society. A man now with a wife and kids himself. Sure, while not struggling financially, the mundaneness and lack of excitement in his job and that of civilian life brings about a growing resentment and unhappiness in his own situation. Much like the Joker's wife, Bob's wife Helen, formerly the superhero Elastigirl, tries to support him in his time, but can never truly relieve him of that depression. Fast forwarding later, Bob experiences a resurgence of happiness in his life, being able to return to superheroism and enjoy the benefits that come from it. However, that brief period of euphoria is immediately ruined by the revelation that there is something more sinister afoot. A figure from his past has come back to haunt him in the form of a disillusioned fanboy turned supervillain named Syndrome, previously known as Buddy.
I am your biggest fan.
Buddy?
With the true nature of the situation now revealed, Mr. Incredible ventures to stop Syndrome, and this brings him to find out Syndrome's true plan, in the famous scene where Mr. Incredible discovers that Syndrome has killed countless heroes, most of whom were former friends and colleagues of Mr. Incredible. The pain of the loss of life is clear on his face. All of his friends dead at the hands of Syndrome, all to make the ultimate superhero killing machine. And all, like himself, just used as a sick, twisted pawn in Syndrome's quest for glory and gratification. At the same time, Helen begins to get more closely involved, suspecting him of an affair. Wanting to know the truth, and with the added temptation from Edna Mode, she activates Mr. Incredible's tracking beacon, resulting in his capture. With Mr. Incredible captured comes the final strike of pain and seeming loss which resembles that of the Joker's. While captive, he gets tortured by Syndrome, all while Helen flies on a jet to their location, with their kids, Dash and Violet, having snuck on board. Syndrome is made aware of their presence by Helen attempting to make radio contact with him, not knowing the dangers that are present. And as a result, Syndrome sends out missiles to kill them.
You do know these people. Oh, well then, I'll send them a little greeting.
Taunting Mr. Incredible while forcing him to listen as this goes on, his pleas falling on deaf ears.
No! Call off the missiles! I'll do anything!
Too late. 15 years too late.
The fear and suspense of Mr. Incredible reaches its peak when it's revealed to him that not only is his wife on board, but his children as well.
Like, abort! Abort! There are children aboard! Say again, there are children aboard this!
No!
And despite her best efforts, Helen's jet is blown right out of the sky. This is the point where Mr. Incredible's journey follows most closely to the Joker's. While his family manages to survive the ordeal, the belief of their death can be related to the actual death of the Joker's family, whose wife and unborn child were killed by a freak accident at home. Unaware of their survival, he is left to mourn, alone in his imprisonment. In The Killing Joke, after falling into a vat of toxic waste, removing his helmet, the Joker finds his face permanently disfigured. This final event, the straw that breaks the camel's back, is what drives the Joker to descend into madness, presented in the iconic panel from the graphic novel. Now comes the final scene, the pivotal scene in which Mr. Incredible is met with a turning point, the final straw, like the Joker. After a change of heart, Syndrome's secretary, Mirage, releases Mr. Incredible from his shackles. However, instead of a thank you, he grabs her by the throat, holding her up by it, face seething with anger and pain. In the past, Mr. Incredible was seen as the city's golden boy, the incorruptible hero to the people, like Superman or Captain America. He represented hope and peace to the city and its citizens. Here he is, the golden boy of the city, holding a powerless character by their neck, undoubtedly ready to snap it at a moment's notice. Think of it as a door, where on the other side is madness. For both Mr. Incredible and the Joker, the events that have transpired allowed this door to be unlocked and opened, and all it takes is for them to step inside. For the Joker, his final step into madness was his disfigurement, while Mr. Incredible, at this present moment, is right at the cusp of entering the realm of madness. The only thing that stopped him was the revelation from Mirage that his family was still alive.
Family survived the crash. They're here on the island.
They're alive?
And is followed by his actual wife appearing right after. Going back to what the Joker said.
All it takes is one bad day. That's how far the world is from where I am. Just one bad day.
This was Mr. Incredible's one bad day. Well, okay, maybe more like a day and a half. This accumulation of events that transpired drove Mr. Incredible to experience intense feelings of pain and anguish. And like the Joker, was on the verge of taking the plunge into madness. But unlike the Joker, was saved at the literal last minute. In The Killing Joke, the Joker kidnaps Commissioner Gordon to prove his philosophy of one bad day. He succumbs Gordon to his own methods of mental torture, but when it's all over, Gordon remains sane and true to his own morals.
I want him brought in. And I want it done by the book.
His hardiness a stark contrast to the emotional state of Mr. Incredible when met with intense emotional and mental torture.
I'll crush her.
Batman tries to give the Joker another chance,
Let me help you.
but he refuses.
I'm sorry, but no. No. It's far too late for that.
The Joker has gone to the point of no return, while Mr. Incredible was pulled back before entering that realm. And as a result, the fates of the Joker, regardless of whether you think Batman killed him or not, will always be one of permanent torment. So that brings me to this question. Are we all capable of going mad? Is there a point in all of us where we just break, and is there a chance for us to be saved? While it is torturous to think about such situations, I believe we can all agree that life will throw us curveballs, and it will give us all our fair share of painful events and moments for us to experience. But through it all, it's about how we approach and deal with these situations that can leave a sprinkle of hope. But hey, I just had a thought.